all the pagans and witches that are here, we've come in here, and in fact, I specifically said, Naphtali, when you invited me here, that I would defend myself and defend my religion. I've done so in a very respectful manner. I have not name called. I've not done anything like that. And as far as I can tell, neither have any of the pagans or witches or anything that have come in here. But there is one Christian in here who has been very rude, called Prince Christopher a girl, has been very rude to me, called me crazy, and so forth and so on. And I just want to state for the record that, ShockofGod was the top. And this actually, when you badger people, when you name call, when you do things like that, that is not tolerance. And that's exactly why I'm here, because I want to educate people as to why we're not evil. And so I find it very disheartening that I come in here and that not only has that speech been allowed, but it has been justified by other people in here as well. I find that very, very sad. So, the thing that I'm here to do was to lean on religion. I have several gods that I believe in, and I have my own belief in the afterlife. But when it comes to the afterlife, I don't think, because nobody here has experienced the afterlife, that we really have the right to tell other people that their beliefs in the afterlife are wrong. That's my viewpoint on it. No one here has experienced the afterlife. No one here honestly and truly knows what's going to happen after they die. You could go nowhere. Or, it could be any matter of, wherever your imagination takes you. It could be reincarnation, it could be this or that. But regardless, I think the problem comes when there's this us or them attitude that comes from that believe that they are better than others because they hold a different belief system. And what I see here is that, most of the Christians that are in here have been very nice, very accepting, very welcoming. Stands one. And that's that us or them attitude that I'm talking about. To some people, it's a war. Instead of a discussion or some kind of dialogue, it has to be about us and them. And that's where the hate and intolerance comes from, because there's no spirit of humanity. And I think that if we look at each other as all humans, trying to make the sense out of our experiences and what the world is like, then we understand that all of us are spiritual seekers in some sense or another. And I think that that's where the tolerance comes from, not from dividing who's pagan and who's Christian, of a line or another, and that gets people nowhere. And it's that type of negativity that breeds and grows. And I've seen it breed and grow in this room, from one person to other people then standing on that same line with that person because they identify with the same label. And that's what's wrong. That's just, I'm going to end my time there and give people a chance to think about that. And things like that several times. Although I think what most of the witchcraft and pagan community, the occult community, have a problem with are some of the mischaracterizations and the things that actually lead to not just,
Chris, you move your mouse on the bottom right-hand side, see where it says Water Tree for Life, and click that camera and shut it off. See on the bottom right-hand, there's going to be a camera and a speaker. It won't show up till you move your mouse by it. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Was someone talking?
Excuse me. I'm just going to mute Shock so that I don't hear.
I didn't even hear anyone talking. Sorry. Who's talking?
Okay. I think that what the major problem that that most people within our community, and I don't mean to speak for everybody in our community, because so I think that the problem is,
can you guys hear me?
Definition.
Just maybe one or two. There's you type
a lot of
Y,
people
that
who
way it
suggest that
lag.
that witchcraft is bad, for example. but that they don't really understand what witchcraft means.
Hold on, let me shut off.
And so,
video.
if you have any questions as to what people practice today,
no offense to you, Adolf, but it's just my
don't
computer.
take it from somebody who
one of the
spends
problems
their life
with
trying to bash witchcraft.
Oh, you're hearing 4 people at one time?
Ask somebody who's actually taught it and understands what witchcraft is. Because really, if you understood it, and you understood what witchcraft was, then you would not see any logical reason for bashing it.
Okay. Sorry. What I'm doing is I mute all you guys, so then when you start talking, I don't know. But so let me go for it here. Hold on. I was talking over Al. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say.
Okay, so I've kept my comments brief for the respect of everyone in the room. I've not name called, but I want to talk a little bit about preconceived notions of prejudice. There's a lot of people in here the word witch. They think of a lot of negative things, just like Shock thinks of a lot of negative things. He says a lot of negative things about witches. He says those things, and then he uses the word witch to call me. Yes, I am a witch, and I'm very proud of being a witch. I am not ashamed of the label of witch, but I also have a name. I'm also human. Shock refuses to call me by my name even though he knows it. The reason is because he wants to try to dehumanize me, to discredit any argument that I would bring to the table. Now, I have made several comments to Next Poly 1981 in text form and down here protesting the treatment that Shock has given these people who are not Christians in the room, because he has treated us as less than human. He has lied about me and said things about my beliefs that were not true. He has tried to say that I was ashamed of being a witch, and I am not. He does this because he wants to try to discredit any argument against him. And it's really shameful, because really, when a Christian lies, I think he kind of defeats the purpose of anything he's doing, considering that that's one of the 10 Commandments. I think that it's really shameful that he would try to bring down the dialogue that has been here, which I think everyone else here has done in the spirit of respect. But Shock on Now is the bane of the existence of this room, because he is the one who is bringing the negativity. And I got to tell you that from my own belief, my own standard, people who exude negativity have negativity in their life. And this is why Shock on Now spends so much time on the internet, so much time doing things, because he has that much hate in his heart. And it's really, really hard to imagine that he's trying to do this because he loves us. It has nothing to do with love and everything to do with putting himself on a pedestal and putting everyone else lower than him. That is why his website is not, anything about Jesus as love. It's about himself. It's about his own name and grandstanding for himself. It's really, really sad that he would come here and try to destroy what, I think a lot of people came here for just a good discussion and to try to get things out there for tolerance and education and to understand people as humans. The Shock cannot do that. He would rather understand us as less than human. And that's really, really sad. I find that people who act like that and people who, kind of portray themselves as better than others, it's really, really sad. And I don't think, that even the message of Jesus displays that. Jesus said to love one another. And I might not be a Christian, but I do take that message to heart from the Bible. And I think that, one thing that Shock does not do is exude love in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to remove myself from this chat room now out of protest, because Shock on Now would not be removed. If anyone had treated anyone else in this room the way that Shock had done, if they were not a Christian, they would have been booted by now, and other Christians, other non-Christians, have been booted by now for less than what Shock has done. So it's obvious that there's a bias here. We're not going to get a free voice. Shock is going to continue to do things to try to bait us. He's probably recording this right now, and fine. I hope you put it on your radio show. Goodbye.
Yeah, what happens is witchcraft is evil, and
hello. Okay.
What happens is witchcraft is evil, and you can't expect witchcraft. It's just not going to work. Go ahead, Tal. I'm sorry.